Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Mary with Mighty Health, and I'm here for a recipe redo. We are going to make a Mediterranean pasta salad. And I have my friend Natalie here, another Mighty Health cohort. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you. I'm going to tell everybody about all these ingredients, and Natalie is so knowledgeable about why we're using what we're using, because when we made this recipe and made it healthier, there were specific things that needed to be done. The main thing about this recipe is that you're taking the best, freshest ingredients from the season. A lot of fresh greens and herbs and tomatoes. We're starting to get into like the yummy tomatoes right now, so we're going to use a ton of those. And then a fresh dressing. We've made one in the past, and I want to show you again how it's so easy with about a handful of ingredients to whip up your own dressing that'll last you for this recipe and beyond. So let me show you everything and then we'll get started. We've got 3 cups on the pasta. I have a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick together. 1.5 cups on the garbanzo beans. That is just 1 can rinsed and drained. That's exactly 1 cup. And then we're gonna go half cup on the parsley and the mint, a full cup on our basil, 2 cups of arugula. We're going to do 1 cup of the Persian cucumbers and then 2 cups of the cherry tomatoes because they're so yummy. Of course, you can play with your ratios. And let me then get into some of our other ingredients over here. These will be the ingredients we use to make our salad dressing. So, it's simple. We've got some olive oil. We're going to use 1/4 cup of that. And I have some lemon from that. This is the other half. This is about 1/2 of a lemon. It makes 3 tablespoons, and that's exactly how much we need for this dressing. Then we'll follow that with a teaspoon of Dijon, 3 cloves of garlic. You can, of course, modify that to your taste. And then the recipe calls for either herbes de Provence or Italian seasoning. I happen to just have the herbes de Provence, so we're going to use a teaspoon of those. We're going to use just a pinch of the crushed red pepper. If your palate doesn't love spice, just omit that or do black pepper or something more mild. And then a little bit of salt, about 3/4 of a tablespoon. Lastly, we have some pine nuts that I toasted earlier, about 1/4 cup, and also some feta cheese. We got some already crumbled, and we're going to use 1 cup of that today. So let's get started. The first thing I want to show you is a little trick with the pine nuts. Now, if you're like me, when you go to toast your pine nuts on the cooktop, it takes 2 or 3 times, right, Natalie? Because the first 2 I burn because I get distracted doing something else. So
You're like, what's that smell? What's
Yeah.
that smell? Oh,
Yeah.
you're burning.
Oh, it goes from that toasty smell to, like burnt toast.
Smoke detector real quick.
Exactly. So I'm going to take 1/4 cup of my pine nuts and just put them in a little pan. And I'm just going to pop it in my oven that I have set right at about 350. I have mine 325 because I'm doing a convection oven. And I'm going to put that on for 10 minutes and perfect every time. So that's my hot tip of the day. While those are toasting up, I want to tell you also about the pasta.
I love that pasta. Yeah.
You do. Tell us
I
about it.
do love that pasta.
It's a
Yeah,
new
so
one for
we're
me.
using a green lentil pasta, but you don't have to use a green lentil pasta. I really like red lentil pasta. You can use a chickpea pasta, cassava root flour. I mean, even a quinoa, that's technically a grain, but I like these pastas because you're adding in more protein, more fiber, and you're cutting out those kind of unnecessary refined carbs. But of course, if you want to do a whole wheat pasta, do whatever pasta you have on hand. But
Gotcha.
if you really want to make it extra healthy, the grain-free is the way to go.
Oh, that's great. I know. I was a little unsure of those, but
they've come a long way. You know, gluten-free pastas have not always been that great, especially when they start off making them with corn. But the texture of these is really good, and it's flavorful, and it goes great with these added flavors we're using.
Okay, we're moving in to some fresh veggies that I'm going to get prepared for you while we wait for our pine nuts, and then we'll make our salad dressing. So
arugula and the herbs are really the star of the show here. I love arugula, and a fun fact, it's actually called rocket when you go to Europe. And it's a cruciferous vegetable, so you think of it like as, like another type of lettuce leaf, but it's really like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, that sort of type of green. I mean, it reduces cancer risk. It's actually really good for your bone health, bone mineralization, because of the vitamin K and calcium, which is kind of just like a fun added benefit of having arugula.
That's awesome. Now, while you did that, I went ahead and did a half a cup of my parsley. Parsley is not a super flavorful one, but I know it's always called for in so many recipes.
But it's good. It's a good for digestion. It has antibacterial properties, and it helps your urinary system. So it's a good one to add.
So this recipe is calling for a half a cup of the chopped mint. Mint has great properties as well, right?
Oh,
it
yeah.
smells
It's
so
great
good.
for digestion. Yeah, great for digestion. I'm actually drinking mint tea right now. I love it after a meal. It just helps settle your stomach and gets things moving along. Mint is great.
Okay.
And basil is in this too, right?
Yeah, we're going to tear the basil up in just a moment. And it has a whole cup of basil. So I do love basil too. Okay, so I've got herbs chopped and torn, and so they'll be ready to go. I'm going to move on to my Persian cucumbers and my tomatoes. I already did some of my tomatoes here. You could also add protein to this and make a meal out of it, I'm sure.
Of course, if you want to add a piece of chicken, or you know what I did recently was I cooked a piece of salmon and I put it on top. And something else I really have been enjoying doing is making like a pesto and putting that over the noodles with the arugula, with the herbs and the vegetables, and then doing a protein. It's such a good, fun, filling lunch.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing on the weekend. So you can play around with the dressing or the sauce you're using. I love to sub in like a pesto for something like this.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm going to show just a simple, herb and olive oil, lemon juice. Okay, tomatoes are ready. Let's get some cucumbers going. It says to do half rounds. These guys are so little, you can almost just do little mini rounds like so.
I think you should measure these with your heart, Mary. You know, the amount of pasta, the amount of vegetables.
I definitely am a measure with your heart kind of girl. And I mean, just because we're using these, you can throw in whatever is fresh at your house. And I think I'm going to go ahead and move on to making that dressing. All right, so all the players are getting close to being ready to add it to the main event. Okay, let's get this going. We're going to start with a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Oh, duty calls first though, people. All right, guess what? Perfect every time. They're perfect. See, they're like just little toasted, light brown, ready to rock and roll. And back to the main business at hand. I used to love to just flatten these out with a knife and then peel them and slice them until I got this guy. Don't even need
Mary,
to
have you heard of the trick with the mason jar?
Smashing them?
Put garlic. No, you put garlic. If you need to peel them, you put them in a mason jar and you shake the mason jar and the skins come right off.
Really? I have not.
I think that was Martha Stewart who taught me that one.
Really? Okay. Well,
yeah, give it a try.
Natalie, can't keep these secrets from me when.
That's why we're meeting here.
If I had a mason jar, I would test your theory right now.
Listen, we can talk about it when we're in Greece, Mary.
Okay. Pack your mason jar when we go.
I'll bring all my mason jars.
And now I don't mind a little spice. I'm a little bit of a wimp with spice, so this calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. I just usually take a little pinch and I go easy on myself with the spice. And then, speaking of mason jars, I could have just dumped all of this in a mason jar and shaken it up, but I'm just going to whisk it in a little bowl today.
You know what? You can do it however you want.
Yeah, and it comes together quite easily.
I know. Can you believe this is such a healthy, flavorful meal, and it comes together so quickly.
And
this is a great one to bring to parties.
Yeah, and typically things you just have on hand, you know.
Yeah,
which is great.
Or that are easy to find. Nothing outrageously hard to find in this one.
Yeah, and if you don't have fresh lemon, or if it's not that time of year, you just don't have it, you can just put any type of citrus or vinegar in it. Okay, guess what? It's the moment of truth. We're ready to assemble.
Drum roll, please.
A fun pasta salad. Okay, and then about a cup of the feta, or I'm sorry, of your feta cheese. Okay, now I get to try to toss all this. Fortunately for us, I'm going to add the dressing in right away, and then it'll help everything kind of shrink up as I toss it. But I might have gotten a little overly excited about how much of everything I put. Let's see. Okay.
I think it looks spectacular.
Well, thank you. Oh, I wish I could share a little sample with everybody. And it just smells so yummy because the dressing has such great flavors, and I can smell the herbs as I toss them.
This is so healthy too, Mary. I mean, this Mediterranean diet, it lowers risk of cardiovascular disease. It helps manage glucose levels, your weight, your digestive system, cancer. It has all these amazing, amazing benefits. And it's something I love because it's not a restrictive diet, and you don't have to cut things out of your diet. You can still add in meats and whole grains and stuff. It's just focusing on the plant-heavy food and fish.
Right. With that in mind, how about if I serve it up a little bit here? Ooh, smells good. Here's to our Mediterranean diet. Really, really good. If I do say so myself.
Healthy and delicious.
Healthy and delicious, for sure. I hope that you guys can enjoy this recipe too. Any questions, let us know. And it's so fun to do Recipe Redo with you, Natalie, and all of our friends.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, everyone. This is always such a highlight.
Thank you so much for being here.